boy did that. Come forward.
I'm Baptist, I'll see you back.
You know what, I'm gonna turn everything around now.
There you go.
How about
Present that way.
How about that?
Everyone's in the back.
Very good. Well, while we sit here, just think about what modernization of technology, what you think of with next generation citizen services. I'm not started yet, I'm just saying, think about that. So I'm gonna ask you what that kind of means to you. It's different for everybody. I know it's different for me. I don't know what your citizen services are, but, you know.
There's actually, I mean, some of the things that Centurylink is moving towards beyond and integrating with ADTRAN is things like smart cities. We've got a couple cities in Florida that I know that we're piloting some new things with them as far as, you know, building out Wi-Fi type networks and stuff and using that to kind of control lighting, parking meters, the whole 9 yards. And then one of the things that, get into this, but one of the things that Centurylink has done is they've been, over the last 7 to 10 years, really, huge acquisition spree. And I came from the Savage side, so I'm from the Coast piece. And they've added on like this company Cognilytics, which is a bunch of really smart data scientists. And these people go through and mine through the data and help municipalities that have basically the things that help them drive and increase revenue and all kinds of stuff. And not just from like stop cameras and stuff.
How many other pictures you
Yeah.
There
There is stuff there.
I can modify it.
And I can share a story about what I know is
How many
happening in
changes
Florida
the
State.
number, raise the number, so
We were in Winston-Salem for the conference last year, and one of the things
Is that where this, okay.
the fall conference, one of the things they're doing that we had seen is with the Wi-Fi, is they have solar powered with Wi-Fi access on their recycling bins. So they're not having to just go pick up empty bins.
Yeah.
There's actually sensors on that'll tell them when they
If
need
there's
to go.
something there, I'll go get it.
Yeah.
Other than,
Now they just need like a sensor for like the stink factor.
Yeah.
Because you could have an almost empty bin, but someone put like, you know, half a hoagie in there and it's just this kind of rotting stuff.
But that was kind of cool, because that helps them with their routing and everything, they know.
So they have that in the truck, or was it before they left that morning?
I'm not sure, I'm sure it's an application somehow
yeah,
that,
but
you
they
know,
just, with all
reports
the
back
things
to
that
a
they kind
central
of plan
server.
out the truck's route.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. So I think, what time is it? I took my watch.
8:35.
8:35, we'll get started. Do we want to close the door?
Yeah.
Well, my name is Alex Raskin. I'm with ADTRAN, I'm still here. And that is Nick Hayes. Nick is a solutions architect. Now we're going to talk, hopefully an interactive discussion about, as we see, next generation citizen services. So I have in my mind what I kind of think of with that, but obviously, you know, I'm not in your shoes. Is there something that kind of stands out when you think of what you want to have next for your county, your area, you know, et cetera? Is there something that jumps out that you're really focused on when you think of, you know, next generation citizen services, if you want to volunteer anything? Well, this is, I know it's early, help me out.
Wireless downtown?
Wireless downtown, perfect. Yeah, we see that a lot. So, and that's the first thing I work for ADTRAN. Have you guys heard of ADTRAN? Okay.
Got two of your ears.
Thank you, Rick. You can stay. So we're manufacturing. I talk a little bit about ADTRAN. I'm not doing an ADTRAN commercial. We're not doing a Centurylink commercial. We want to make sure that you understand what we can offer you. My goal, our goal at the end of this is not that you can come back and say, man, I'm rolling out that NetVana 1235 attributes. That thing is beautiful. What our goal is to understand, or help you understand what we see as things that are coming up for your counties, for your municipalities, et cetera, and understanding that ADTRAN and Centurylink have a lot of different ways that we can lend to, you know, public Wi-Fi access downtown. And which is not just public Wi-Fi access downtown, it's the infrastructure to provide connectivity out to there. How do you power those APs? Maybe it's, you know, a cellular, you know, a solar panel, you know, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of really cool things that are taking place when we want to get to that next generation citizen services. I didn't come up with that title, but I do think it sounds pretty cool. So we're just here to kind of, get some thoughts in your mind, and, hopefully move forward with things. And when you do start looking at doing that downtown, remember, hey, Alex and Nick talked a little bit about that. Maybe I should bring them in, just to hear us out and see what we have. We've done a lot of this before, and we currently are doing it, so we have some expertise in these areas, and we'd love to lend that to you. Nobody wants to invent the wheel, nobody wants to reinvent the wheel, but using that wheel as it's already been done is always very helpful. Okay. Hopefully, again, make this as interactive as possible. Let us know any questions that you have. Comments are always welcome. Hey, we did that this way, we did it that way, that sort of thing. We have an hour that will fill up, I think, pretty well, but we'd like this to be as interactive as possible. I don't like the Q&A at the end. I like to bring up things as it comes up, as things jump out. If it's something that we're going to cover later, we might say, hey man, that's an awesome thought. The public Wi-Fi is perfect. We're going to talk to that a little bit, and we'll say, hey, let's table that a little. This is my table of contents. My second, I come up with a lot of Alexisms, as I call them. I don't read a slide to you. I'm not here to read. I'm here to, highlight some of the top things that I think are poignant to a slide. This is our general agenda. How the finances look from a local government perspective, some of the priorities and challenges that are out there, and then we're going to give you solutions. That's what we do. That's our goal. We like to solve things. We're engineers at heart. We want to make that stuff work. So you and I can chat about a lot of things, but we want to make things work and make them work easily, streamlined, cost effectively, and just something that's easy to roll out and deploy. So that's kind of our goal. So this is another Alexism slide. What will you remember? There's a lot of concepts about presentations and people joining and death by PowerPoint, as they say. And I'm not a huge PowerPoint fan. They say you should only have 3 bullets per slide, 3 or 4 bullets. I blow that out of the water without question. There's many too many bullets and words on slides. But I try to highlight the ones that I think are the most important. And they say in about a week you'll remember, and I think the number is 8%, not 10%. So what will you remember? Not much. I understand that. I'm with you. And the amount of time that we put into some of these presentations, I'm like, they're going to remember 10%. Can I do 10% of that? No, you got to take up an hour. I'll take up an hour. But that's okay. And the reason is at the very end, we're going to give you what we feel is and again, I think this number is more closer to 8% or 4%. I'm not sure, whatever your capacity is. But at the end, we have, I think, 3 bullets that we really want to reiterate to you. So pay attention as best as you can, interact as best you can, and we'll make it as entertaining.
If you're going to fall asleep, just wake up for the last 5 minutes.
Right, we'll nudge you, or the person next to you, just give them a poke, and let them, all right, this is the big part, so pay attention. So real quick about the local government outlook, it seems to have settled down. I'm not saying money's pouring out of the woodwork. This was taken from, an eRepublic survey. I have that if you did want to take a look at it. It's kind of interesting about what's going on. It's about $100 billion for state and local, and the local part of that. And this is strictly IT spending. So about $52 billion. That's supposed to go up. And this is just IT. I'm not talking about all other aspects of your spending. This is, IT spending for local government across the country is about $52.3 billion. And that's supposed to increase by a little bit, 2.5%. So we're enthused by that. I think that shows how the economy is doing, shows a little bit about, the recovery and the revenues, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully you guys are kind of seeing, yeah, it's not bad. It's not a massive struggle or anything like that. So there is some budgets to be had and some money to be spent. So we're going to just kind of lean on that and say, okay, well, there is some opportunity to, fortify your solutions, fortify your networks, and move those forward. So that's I think, very positive news. We were excited to see that. And I'll always pause a little bit, give you guys a chance to speak, because I'll just keep talking, and nobody wants that. So if you have any comments or questions about that, just let me know. But the study's pretty interesting. I have that. If you do want to see it, just let me know. I can toss it over to you. And priorities. I don't know, but there are some counties that even have a CIO, CTO, et cetera. And these are the priorities. And again, this is another study that we saw, which is, again, pretty interesting. So just take a look at that slide a little bit. And again, I think I highlighted the ones that I think we're going to talk to the most. and the 3 bullets that you should not exceed on a slide, so I kind of highlighted those. And I think it's very interesting that, first of all, there's some similarities. I don't think that's, you would expect that from one level to another to be out there. I was kind of surprised at IT staffing, and I've got some statistics farther down about IT staffing, but having the right people, having the right knowledge base, people leaving, people coming in, there's a lot of different statistics about IT staffing that make it very interesting as far as it being a priority. And when it means priority, that can be many things. You'll see IT staffing again come up as a challenge, because the challenge with IT staffing is what I was just talking about. Getting the right people, keeping the right people, as people leave, bringing in new people, et cetera. And having people to be able to address those next generation citizen services that we want to implement. So IT staffing was a big topic that came up a lot, about a priority, having the right people, and then a challenge to have the right people. Kind of like an oxymoron almost. Okay, and mobility. I mean, you mentioned it right off. Who's not challenged with mobility? I think that's a better question. I mean, who's not challenged with bringing in, whether it be Wi-Fi and getting Wi-Fi connected? Mobility with a mobile phone, who wants to use their mobile minutes as opposed to Wi-Fi? You were just complaining your son's using all those mobile minutes.
Yeah.
You have to get on Wi-Fi. Get on Wi-Fi, man. We have Wi-Fi available to you. Use it. Then you're not using your gigabits of data. So pushing out mobility, scalability of mobility. Anybody want to guess how many devices a college plans for per student? How many mobile devices, wireless devices a college student? 3?
5.
Sorry, 5?
Yeah.
5. It's 5. 5 per student. Per student. Man, they say they're not using them simultaneously, but I don't know. I've seen some college kids just going all over. So mobility, cellular devices, wireless devices, my Xbox, my cell phone, my iPad, my my whatever, laptop. I have 1, 2, 3 wireless devices with me right now. They're not all connected. I'm not using them all at the same time. But when we talk about Wi-Fi, we talk about not only throughput, I want to be able to get on and do what I want to do, but I got a lot of devices I want to get on simultaneously. So you've got density, you've got throughput. You want to make that student happy, even if it's an Xbox, they want to be happy. We did a survey. I have several higher ed facilities that we have, and they complain about the weirdest things. How's your ebooks doing? My Xbox doesn't get on, I can't network. I'm like, no, that's not really the priority of the college right now. Maybe it should be for you, but we want your e-learning to be working, we want your ebooks to be moving forward. Mobility is a huge priority. Getting it up and running from, in the public to maintaining it, to making sure that, the end users are happy with that. And scalability is huge from a mobility standpoint, being able to get it. Once you build it, I had a college that I implemented, and they're like, well, we don't use it a lot. I said, yeah, right. Once if you build it, they will come. Once it's built, now all of a sudden they know it's there, and they're putting everything on there. Now, the problem is not that I have it. Now it's the scalability, making sure that it's going to address what your clientele, what your students are, in whatever facility your public is going to be. And then disaster recovery, who doesn't, that's a concern across the board. Maintaining, I've got companies that they go down, or, areas of, E911 is huge for you all, and that's kind of a part of disaster recovery and continuity, making sure that my network is up and running at all times. I can, data is now more important than voice. Data is voice now. Who's doing voice over IP? I didn't even think it would be that much. Voice is data. I mean, if my network, it used to be 5 years ago, if my data network went down, that's okay, I can still make a phone call. My data network goes down now, I can't make a phone call. I've got my cell phones, I agree. That's part of disaster recovery. Get a cell phone? That's fine. You should have coverage. But disaster recovery, being able to get connectivity for my voice, for my data, making sure I can, pass that E911 or get to your database, or, make sure that the hospital or the fire department or the police department can get their data back and forth. Does that make sense? And then the open government data, that's my 4th bullet. I know I'm not supposed to go past 3, but the comment that we heard a lot was silos. There's a lot of silos, that this group works in a silo and that group works within the same county. and trying to consolidate and share that information. You know, you're a database guy, so I'm sure that you want to share that information across the county. And a lot of times everybody's working in their own little silo, and a CIO, remember, wants to kind of overall manage all that and consolidate a lot of that information. Maybe not consolidate, but have access to it. So I can get to that and this, and then be able to bring all that together for my entire county. Okay. Does that make sense? Nods are good. Nods are good. All right. Very cool. And these are some of the technologies. This is my comfort level. This is what we like to get into technologies. We talked a little bit about some of this already. We talked about our mobile apps, being able to get to my applications from different areas, disaster recovery, business continuity, broadband and wireless infrastructure. I mean, I didn't, you know, it's very interesting when I ask questions and people come up with, you know, what they're saying. It's nice that there's continuity just within what we're talking about and what these studies show. Wireless infrastructure. Wireless infrastructure, we both think about wireless, like, oh, that's wireless, that's great. How are you getting to that wireless? There's wires somewhere, I promise you. There's always going to be a wire connecting me back. So I can put an access point in a lot of different places, and I do that. I design wireless networks. I do heat maps, and I'll tell you where to put your access points to get your coverage and 2.4 and 5 gig and your channel and your power setting. All awesome, all great. And you can put those access points exactly where I put them, exactly where I told you, and the coverage will be great. If you don't have the infrastructure to get you back to the internet or MPLS cloud, what good is that, right? So again, this is all talking about that modernization, getting to that platform and that area where you've got a nice cohesive network. Because how many, you know, you have a wire and it goes to your computer. You're one person on that wire. Awesome. I mean, you're really not going to have a lot of conflicts. You're not going to have a lot of collisions and such. When you get an access point, how many people are getting on that access point? More than one, I promise you that. I mean, in this room, how many do we have? I don't know, 18, 20, something like that. You could put 10, 20, 30, 50 people on an access point. If that cable going to that access point is not a gig, or it's not the speed that you need to support your end users, it's almost worse. Have you ever, you know, had wireless and it's so annoying and you're just like, man, oh man, this is ridiculous. I'd almost rather not have it. I'd rather not have the frustration of trying to get through. Remember in the old days that, you know, you had your modem lines and stuff, you know, 56K was flying along and we were all, oh man, it's you know, you see your screen coming in, that wasn't that bad. Our expectations are different now. Period. Our expectations, you know, on my hip, I've got on your phone, you know, you can browse the internet and you can buy stuff on Amazon and you can book your flight.
4K movie.
Right. I mean, expectations are different, bottom line. So when we start talking about that broadband and wireless, infrastructure to me is the word that I look at first. Infrastructure to me, because if I can have a wireless network, but if my infrastructure is not there to carry that network, again, the frustration of it is going to be worse than anything else. Okay? Okay, make sense? You're welcome again to bring up questions and comments as I move forward, but I'll keep talking. I'm good that way. Citywide consolidation. I mean, we can see this. I think staff is very interesting. I found it very interesting that you put the word staff under consolidation. I don't think that that's intended to consolidate staff. I think it's intended to make sure that the staff has the ability to get to a consolidated arena of information. Data centers, yeah, consolidation. No questions, bring them back into a data center. Data centers, what are the benefits that you see of maybe putting it in a cloud if we're thinking of doing that, or in a data center? What are the advantages of that type of concept? Now I'm asking for it.
There's pros and cons to it.
There's pros and cons, absolutely.
I mean,
Throw out one of either, pro
so
or a con.
if you're, you know, putting your data centers in your cloud, your energy footprint's less. There's
Greener.
You're greener, there's savings there.
Sure.
But on the con side, you need to make sure you have access to multiple
You
data
can't
centers.
get to that data center.
If you can't,
I got nothing now.
you have nothing,
Yeah.
you lose your link to that
Yeah.
data center.
So hopefully that data center, yeah, thank you. That data center, you're consolidating everything, which is good and bad. Like you say, lower power footprint, it's greener, as they say with the Green Initiative, but it should be more stable. You know, you've got a fortified data center. You know, Centurylink's got some amazing data center, those 5 nines, you know, power redundancy, You know, it's built like a, you know, like a bomb shelter, et cetera. Hopefully they're a redundant data center, so I've got redundant servers. I can bring everything together. So the consolidation of a data center, yeah, you have to be aware. I want to make sure that I can get to that data center, because if I'm putting everything in a data center, I want to be able to get to it. The cloud is, everybody loves the cloud. The cloud. It's great to talk about, but you got to make sure you have connectivity. Again, that infrastructure word comes up again. Getting to that cloud and being able to have that circuit to get up to the cloud and such. So power redundancy, you know, facility redundancy, consolidation into, you know, some VMware servers maybe, you know, et cetera. So being able to consolidate and just, you know, then I can start getting out of that siloed kind of environment. I can still have silos in a data center, hopefully not, but it should lend a little bit better to be able to share that information across different municipalities or cities or counties, et cetera. And then virtualization, we're talking about that. Everybody, again, loves cloud, you know, virtualization. But again, the danger of the cloud, I think the beauty of the cloud is what people see most. And I think the cloud is a beautiful thing. The cloud is a good thing, you know, to get it into the cloud and consolidate and be able to have backups. We've already talked a lot about security. We've talked about backups. We've talked about, you know, being able to have redundancy. And that's what I think virtualization and, you know, the data centers line very well too. Okay. Any questions on those? Interesting stuff. This is a fun slide. This is much too busy of a slide if you're building a presentation, which I did, thank you. Just to make it a little busy while you look at that. I need to bring up, there's a quote that I had, and apparently I didn't have room on my slide, so I didn't put it in there, but there's a really interesting quote that I did not put in there, that I'm going to read to you, which I always say, I never read a slide to you, so I'm over everything right now. I thought the interesting things, and we talked a little bit about these, and they come up over and over. I think that's kind of good, it's kind of bad. It builds to, you know, hey, the concepts are there, and when you see something over and over and over, you're like, all right, you know what, we gotta do something about that, or that's something that is of very big interest. The human capital and workforce issues we talked about, staffing. 1 in 4, they say 25% of the workforce is ready to retire. It's kind of scary to lose 25% of your workforce, just I'm going to retire. I look forward to it, but I won't be anytime soon. But retirement and then competing, you know, with the private sector is always a challenge. And these are kind of tied to those CIO priorities. So from a hiring standpoint, people retiring, leaving the workforce, but then bringing in new people, you know, and bringing in new people is a huge challenge. I just hired someone down in Florida and stuff, and it's just a huge challenge. You want to get the right person, you want to get the right skill set, you want to get the right people set, you want to get the right everything, and it's a huge challenge. And when people retire, you're losing that intellectual property that people, I think, don't value. You know, and we all have that guy, you know, or that girl, you know, Jim. Oh yeah, Jim knows that system. You know, that key system, that phone system that's over there that's taped up, you know, and kind of wired together. He knows that. Just if you need to move, just ask him. All right. Well, when he retires, where are you going with that? You know, so there's a lot of intellectual property that you are bound to lose with that, and bringing in new people and competing with the private sector and such. And not only bringing in people, but I like this quote. It says, as IT requirements, and this is from the same study, as IT requirements become more complex, just from a complexity standpoint, projects can fail due to the lack of sophisticated project management. So when I talked about bringing in the right people, you can have the right project, you can have the right, you know, concepts, you can know everything that you want to do, but if you can't manage it, and you can't get that expertise to bring it to fruition, love that word, you want to bring it to fruition, but if you don't have the right expertise, it can fail in so many different ways. So just some things to really kind of think about. Budget planning, you know, who does have the right information for a budget? In my house, I don't have the right budget, and I don't have anywhere near the money that these things have, so I don't know what my budget is. So, you know, again, it's a challenge to be able to know how much to spend. And I always say 2 things that I like to talk about. Number 1, I've yet to hear someone complain that my network's too fast. Hey, slow me down, man. Get me too quick. And I've yet to hear an IT manager, a CIO, a CTO say, hey, my IT staff, I'm well staffed. I got enough people. We're ahead of the game. We're ahead of the curve. Never, ever. I don't think I ever will. And that's fine, I mean, that's just, you know, the challenge that we all face in the world. And so from that concept, you know, the personnel budget, there's a financial budget and there's a personnel budget. How many people do I have to fulfill the projects that I need to do, to handle? So we've got a lot of budgeting from a finance perspective. You know, do we have enough money? You never have enough money. You don't even know how much you have, and you don't have enough money to do what you don't know you have to do anyway. So there's a lot of, you know, concepts from that standpoint. So, you know, this is, again, just a lot of background information about, you know, the challenges that we're seeing. And, you know, we're obviously building a foundation for what we want to talk about in regards to us fulfilling those and helping you out with these challenges. Your staffing challenges, your budget challenges, your financial challenges. So when we start talking about what you need to fulfill, what you need to do and how you need to do it, you know, we want to be able to provide you with a lot of different ways to do that and hopefully addressing some of your needs. Hopefully got my good side. Was that like that?
Trey doing the drive-by.
And there are those highlights again. Sorry, I digress. I do that a lot. So let's talk a little bit about technology modernization and where we can go with everything. I've built a nice foundation now. We have challenges, we have priorities, we have things that we want to do. We have great technology out there. You know, I love being in technology. Well, I do and I don't. It's one of those, like you're saying, data center. It's a double-edged sword. I love being in it. It's cool stuff. Just being able to do what we can do it's cool. It's really neat. But man, maintaining it and utilizing it professionally and adequately and keeping our arms around it is in itself a challenge.
2 a.m.
I had 2 a.m. phone calls. This is not working. I can't get to this or that. So we're all talking about, you know, a smarter government, smarter, you know, implementing, you know, I thought that what you were talking about with the smarter, what were you talking about before, at the very beginning with
The Cognalytics people?
with the more intelligent, the sensors and the traffic corridors and,
Yeah.
you know, just a more intelligent county, bringing together the, you know, and there's a lot of different aspects to that. We've got the infrastructure. Again, I love that term infrastructure. That's what we like to build and maintain. Wireless vehicles, connecting everything together. Even the, you know, your signal lights, making them work better and more efficiently, can all be networked together, can all be made to work better. Street lights, water monitoring, we're always monitoring everything about everything so that we can do things more efficiently. The recyclables, and, you know, if you can monitor when I need to pick up those recyclables, I can be more efficient and be able to use my time better, you know, all this sort of stuff. Internet of Things. There's, I just saw an advertisement for an egg crate, an egg storage in a refrigerator that's internet connected, so that when you get down to like 4 eggs, it can send you a notification. Seriously? That's needed, I guess? So I can get it on my, so my wife doesn't have to tell me, I guess. I can just get it on my phone on the way home.
Samsung has a new
It's a
refrigerator that like has cameras in it,
Yeah.
and it has pictures, so you can sit there and look and see what's there.
Because we
If
do
you're at the
that.
store, it's like, do I have milk? I don't know, where to look.
Yeah. Great. Did you check? No, I didn't check. So, you know, there's a lot of being, you know, smarter refrigerators, smarter people, smarter government, et cetera. So we're all building to that.
Does it keep up with expiration date?
Well,
Well,
it doesn't do that.
that's
You
a
can't
whole
look
other
inside the
market.
carton,
That's a
right?
good
So I mean,
point.
if the carton is almost empty, because you have a teenager that drinks out of it and comes back with 2 sips left, anybody here ever have that? Okay. Wait, maybe I'm just kidding. But, you know, I mean, they wouldn't know. You'll see the carton there, but you won't know what's in it.
Yeah. So it's very interesting stuff. So I'm going to get in a little bit in the agenda. I talked a little bit. Now we talked about our, you know, the state of the government. It looks pretty good from a financial. We talked about our priorities. We talked about our challenges. I'm going to talk a little bit now about some of our solutions that we can bring to the table. So ADTRAN, very quick, I was very proud to see that a bunch of people have heard of ADTRAN. We're a US-based company in Huntsville, Alabama. We're about $750 million, give or take. We're a hardware manufacturer, and we make the stuff that gives you that infrastructure, gets you from point A to point B. We do switches, we do wireless access points, routers, IP business gateways, voice over IP solutions, et cetera. We're Centurylink is a huge part, you're number one now, our number one service provider. Thank you. My kids thank you, my wife thanks you. And, you know, and so our equipment, we're more of a carrier-based company, industry-leading warranties, rock-solid equipment. We're an engineering-oriented company, so we don't market good, but we make really good, solid stuff, which me as an engineer, I appreciate that. I'm not gonna talk to all these. I think the coolest thing, it's all pretty cool. You know, I've been with ADTRAN for 18 years. I started in middle school, so, you know, we'll go with that. But, and just a solid state, they do and make great stuff. We're not, you know, the forefront, we don't have a lot of commercials and all, except me, right now, here it is. That's the commercial that you got. But solid, stable equipment. Very, very cost effective. We're very, again, technically oriented, and we like to say that we bring to the table a very solid, stable, high performance, cost effective solution. And that's what I'm going to talk about now. Good for me. I'm not going to talk about everything. I've got like 1,000 products I can talk about. I'm not going to talk about that. These are the ones that I think are most applicable to this audience here right now. I'm going to talk a little bit about our cloud services and, you know, how that can address some of your challenges and what we talked about from a challenges perspective. I'm going to talk a little bit about our switches. I'm going to talk about our wireless. I'm going to talk about, this is, I hate talking about a specific product. I don't think it's the right audience to do that, but this one I think is. And that's because the area that I see this product is very often in the government section, the local government, and I see it in education as well. And I'll tell you why. So these are the things I'm going to talk about a little bit. ProCloud Management is based on our Blue Socket wireless solutions. The nice thing about this is that it's hosted, it's managed, it's maintained. We talked a little bit about having a project and it can fail just because it's not managed correctly. We'll manage it for you. We'll manage your entire wireless solution. Soup to nuts, design, implementation, hosting it, maintaining it, configuring it, you know, designing it, etc. And we can do that for your Wi-Fi and or your switches. Okay, so that's a huge benefit. And I'll talk a little bit more detail about that. We've got a full suite of switches that we can manage and maintain. 10100 gigabit, PoE, non-PoE, layer 2, layer 3, you know, all your class service, quality service, all your protocols and stuff like that. But just suffice to say that we are industry-leading warranties, meaning, you know, return to factory, advanced replacement, lifetime warranties on these, fully powered, etc. So if you are doing some, you know, switching and PoE switching for your voice over IP, etc., we've got cable diagnostics built into these, etc. And probably the most attractive price point in the market, you know, and I think we back it up with a real solid, stable solution. And then ActiveReach. ActiveReach is really cool. And again, I don't put a slide dedicated to a particular product. This is really neat. And if it interests you, you'll be like, wow, that's really cool. If it doesn't, you'll be like, I don't know what the heck you're talking about. Which is fine, I'm okay with that. Bottom line with this, if you have got an environment with some very old wiring. Anybody? Anybody? Right. You have the old wiring, you can't get some new wiring in, I want to rewire, I want to do that voice over IP. Alex, I'd love to put an access point up there, but it's a historic building, I can't drill through the walls. It's concrete, to get through that wall takes, you know, like a drill that's this long, I can't do it. This technology, it's unique in the market, allows you to take advantage of your existing wiring, there's the great word, infrastructure. So if you have some wiring infrastructure now, we can use that exact same wiring that you have now and run Ethernet PoE over your existing wiring. You're welcome.
So you can take Cat 3 and make it with the converter into Cat 5? Interesting.
Right? Who thought they'd come in here thinking, I'm gonna be interested in a switch? Yeah, no, I get it. It is really cool. And what it is, it's not like I go to a customer and say, man, you gotta get this switch. People, you know, whatever. But if it's something that you've already experienced that pain, man, I would love to have deployed that. I would love to put a voice over IP phone in the warehouse. I am not running a new cable through that firewall. And when I say firewall, I mean a physical firewall, not like a router firewall. A physical, concrete, poured concrete firewall. I cannot get through that. I do not have the money or whatever. It's cost prohibitive. We can alleviate that for you. I can take a single pair of wire and run a voice over IP phone over that. Oh, I can.
What kind of speed you got?
So it'll go, depending on your distance, depending on the number of, and you'll see the term in here, maybe not disturbers, meaning the number of patch panels you have to go through. I can go up to 1,600 feet in a perfect world, because we all live in a perfect world. I can usually go about 800 to 1,000 feet. You'll get at least 10 meg, if not 100 meg.
You gotta use a brick on the phone?
You do not have to use a brick over the phone. We will do PoE over those wires. There you go, that's the face I like to see. That is it. You can all, my job here is done. It's a unique technology in the market. Okay, so I can take a single pair of wire right here and push and power. I don't know the technology behind it. This is more done on our carrier space. It's some sort of DSL technology, I'm not positive. And it's a standard switch. I can spend 4 hours on this technology. I'm not going to, but I've whet your appetite, obviously. So come see me at our booth.
I got a good question for you, and I'll come see.
Okay. Oh, man. I might be leaving right after the show.
You did have an early flight.
I do now. So
I'm gonna throw it out so you can think about it.
Sure.
CenturyLink provides phone service to the community in the city, okay?
Yep.
But fire station, rec centers, all wired back to City Hall via the copper pairs.
Okay.
Can we do what's over IP straight to City Hall, straight out to those far locations, going back to the CenturyLink switches? We'll talk about that at the booth. That's
No.
your question.
No. No, I could use the wiring infrastructure, but those are wired back to a class 5 switch.
They're going through-
So, yes, but no. Could I take those wires and do it if I take out all the end pieces and put my pieces in the middle? But then I have to talk to something, I could. But not in the architecture you're talking about. But we could talk about that further. Because you're coming back to a CenturyLink voice solution that's coming back to equipment that's gonna, that's a different. But if we took out all that stuff and I put me in the middle, yeah, I probably could, but no. Is that clear? Is that clear? Does that make sense? All right, thank you.
Sure.
I suggest you get your CenturyLink rep, tell them you saw this, and push them.
We'll talk at the booth.
We can, that's fine.
The reason why I say that is, you own the wiring, right? You own that wire.
You own the wire.
Oh, I own all the
You
wire,
own
I'll
You
go to
own
the rec
all the
center.
wire.
Yeah,
Oh.
this is more of a private. You're talking about from
You own the wire,
place
you
CO to you.
Chop us off.
Yeah, once it's
Put
to
this
you,
in
you can
and
do what you
track
want on
us
that
over.
wire.
If I want another extension at the police department, you take that copper pair from my location all the way to that desk in the police department on your copper.
To the desk?
Yes. I mean, once it hits the building, it's my copper. but-
Right, no, once it hits the building, within your building though,
But every phone
You can do something like
has its own pair.
sure, but you can take that pair and do this over it. Okay? Once it's yours,
But I'm going back to his,
yes, no, we can play with that. Okay,
just,
so I'm,
just a brain teaser.
yeah, no, that's a fun one, we like that, see, we can talk for now,
Yeah.
45 minutes on that, which I'm sure you all would be interested in. So, just so you know, and we can run regular Cat 5, Cat 6 over 1,000 feet, et cetera. So unique technology, when people, when it sparks something, you're like, oh, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. If it doesn't, it doesn't, I'm not offended, that's fine. So keep that in mind. So now I'm gonna talk a little bit about our Pro Cloud services, and I'm starting to eat up into next time. So a little bit about our Pro Cloud service. This is our hosted solution. We all like cloud, we all like the hosted solutions. This is where we can host, manage, maintain, configure, design, support your wireless solution and your switching infrastructure. Okay? We allow you to, I like this. That was my red bullet. I forgot the red bullet, that one. Focus on your business, let ADTRAN manage your network. You have your core competencies, you have your core things that you want to address, and we have the things that we're really good at. Centurylink has the things that they're really good at. Let us do ours, you can do yours, you can do yours. We can all, bring in a nice, happy, healthy network. These are our access points. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on these. These are our switches, lifetime warranty, industry best, SLAs, active reach technology I talked a little bit about. These are, 802.11n, 802.11ac, wave 1, wave 2, 2.4, 5 gigahertz, all your channels, power settings, etc. The bottom line on this is that we also offer help desk services, US-based help desk services. So what I'm talking about here is that we can pretty much handle your Wi-Fi or switching, but most of the people lend towards the Wi-Fi solution, and we can host that. I can design it, let you know where we need stuff. We can let you know, we'll work with you. We assign a project manager to it. We talked a little bit about the challenge of a project management, and if that goes awry, a lot can go awry. So we can project manage that. We will talk to you about how do you want your splash screen set up. Is it an open network? Do you have a pre-shared key? What kind of authentication? Security, PCI compliancy, HIPAA compliancy, whatever you might need to be compliant with. We can do that. We'll design it, we'll maintain it, sorry?
I said CJIS.
All those. And then we've got help desk, so your limited IT staff doesn't have to take the call from me saying, hey, I've got an iPad, I'm trying to get on your network, how do I? You can call a help desk, and we can offload that. And again, allow you to do what you really need to do. Okay, so that's kind of our, it's almost it for me, that was a tease. You thought you were excited, I know. Come out there and give your spiel. So that's the ADTRAN, what I was going to talk to you from a technology perspective. We have a full router suite, switching, etc. The Active Reach got a couple of interesting questions and some nods. But our hosted solutions allow you to allow us to host and manage and support your wireless network and manage that for you. And you can have your IT staff doing the projects that you really need to do. Focus on your database and allow us to focus on your wireless network and implement that. Very cost effective. We can host it. It includes maintenance. It includes all your, you hear all this licensing stuff, etc. We'll do all that, and it's all included with that. And we partner with Centurylink on that, and we can do that full design. If you already have wiring, companies to do that, we can bring in some wiring for you. We'll hang the access points, and again, we can offload that from you. Okay? That was the ADTRAN portion of it. Thank you very much. I'm going to hand this over to Nick right now. Here's your clicker. Here's all power.
Go.
Be careful.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right.
The right goes forward, the left goes back.
You never know. Okay, so we have a bunch of different slides here about Centurylink, but I want to ask a couple questions first. Everybody here know, you guys know who Centurylink is? Anybody? Yeah? Let's see if you're not. Okay. So when he was talking about advertising, anybody remember the Slinky bouncing across the United States? Anybody ever see that commercial? Did we send you a Slinky? Again, you will see, I think Centurylink is changing its marketing stuff. Hopefully it'll be something you guys start to remember. And it's not a Slinky-based toy. So hopefully you guys will understand that. But I want to ask a couple questions. Do you guys know anything more about Centurylink? So you guys know us as a telecom provider, right? So CenturyTel started back in the 1930s. Did you guys know that 1/3 of the internet traffic in the United States crosses our backbone? Did anybody know that we're the second largest colo provider in the world? Okay. Just a few things. We have 4,000 IT people that are in consulting and for managed services. So when we talked about some of the strategic initiatives and being able to handle staffing and help you guys in doing different managed services and stuff besides networking, we have a lot of that. And one of the things that I kind of wanted to bring up, and you'll see this, our hybrid IT solutions and co-location with an N drop down for some reason.
I put the slide together. So
You did this on purpose. No, the biggest thing that at the beginning, Alex talked about, different takeaways. So the takeaways that I want you guys to understand about Centurylink is that A, we're not just a telecom provider. We've really moved up as far as some of the things we do. We can help you build smart cities, smart government type stuff. We're doing it today in several different towns in Florida, Arizona. Universities, we do an awful lot of things, a lot of different universities. I can't say these names, but I'm going to anyways. Arizona State, Michigan State, and a few others. At a few of these things, we've just installed 18,000 Wi-Fi access points. So it's just a few, and we're managing those. So, we're able to kind of go through and help. We're going to talk about the wiring thing, because there has got to be a way to fix that. And also, I want to make sure that you understand some of the different things that we do, some of the stuff that we've bought. I came from Savas, so this is managed hosting side. So the CenturyLink story for hybrid IT, which everyone hears about hybrid cloud and everything else. If you go to our competitors and you look at three-letter acronym companies and places you can buy stuff and everything else, you're going to find they offer you really great deals for a lot of stuff, and their clouds are really good for a lot of things. If you are developing your own applications, honestly, don't come here. Because if you're developing some new latest and greatest stuff, you're going to build the next Netflix, by all means, you will get more bang for your buck with those providers. But if you've got standard applications that have been around for a while and are what everyone considers in the term legacy, we have probably one of the better solutions for you, because you can either host things in the cloud, you can have a private cloud, which is essentially us taking the servers for you and managing them. Or you can leave some of your stuff, like if you have an AS400 or some other old technology, you can put that up there. Anybody have any of those floating around in the old? Oh, yeah, okay, so AS400. You can put that up on our co-location and have that still talk to anything. So any of the existing stuff that you buy from us, it all can tie together. And that is actually one of the things that you'll find. If you go to the other providers and they sell you a cloud and you're gonna get a great deal, especially if you bought like Office 365 and they give you like 20 grand for free and stuff, which is fantastic. Ask them what they can do with your AS400. It has to stay down here. Well, the problem is that if your data center is up in Washington or some other place, maybe here on the East Coast, and your AS400 is down here in North Carolina, that delay probably won't work for your application. So, you know, this is my sales pitch, I guess, for CenturyLink. But so, what do we offer in our cloud? Hybrid IT platform. That's the word I'm supposed to use. We offer a portal. Everyone has portals. I think ours is a little easier to use. That's all semantics, right? It depends on what color schemes you like or how pretty it is. Management, agility. The one thing that you will find in cloud, and I think I'm probably one of the few people that talk about cloud in this way, not everything belongs in the cloud. So if you've got servers that stay up and running 24/7, you will probably spend more money having that sitting there hosted in the cloud than you will by having it sitting in your own premise. However, sitting at your own premise really doesn't buy you what you want either. So maybe you move it to like what we consider our dedicated cloud, which is not cloud. And effectively, you guys buy VMware servers today, right? You buy like an HP or a Dell server, install VMware ESX on it, you gotta manage it and do everything. Have us do that for you. And then you just pay per drink. In other words, per server that you're using. And we'll manage it. We'll patch the OS, do the antivirus, handle all the security. You want us to manage your Active Directory so you no longer have people asking questions like, please reset my password? We can do that too. Account management, orchestration, that's a wonderful buzzword. Orchestration is always a great buzzword. What it really means is, anybody here that's old, remember things like batch files and just writing some scripts? Okay, that's what orchestration is. They talk about it now, they get these wonderful names. We just rolled out one, it's called Runner. Our service is called Runner. It's built on this thing called Ansible. In reality, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm actually older than I look, hopefully I look. It's
a little bit.
a little thing right there, sorry. It's not that much different from something called Perl, right? I mean, a long time ago, I used to work for a financial firm, and we managed 10,000 desktops from one single set of servers in New York. So, and this was long before you had things like remote control and SMS and all the other kind of stuff. We did everything with Perl scripts. Now it's called orchestration. This is what happens if you're a millennial. That didn't go out very well. Exactly. Auto scaling. That is one thing that you'll find you can do in any of the cloud things that you probably have a little bit harder time doing in-house. Every quarter, every month end, if you're running some kind of special festival and you need a little more compute power, you can have it automatically scale up. Add some more CPU, add some more memory to it, pay for it for that time, and then turn around and turn it back. Depending on your OS, you may have to do a reboot then. If you're into like Windows 2012, you won't have to. If it's 2008 and below, yeah, you will. These are wonderful things, disaster recovery, outstanding support. We always talk about those things. I think the security is probably one of the bigger things also that's out there that you can help to offload, because being a city and county government, you have a lot of data on your citizens, you have a lot of data on your employees, stuff that has to be protected, so everyone goes, oh, I really don't want that in the cloud. Well, I can tell you that, from our standpoint, you can make anything as secure there as it can be sitting in your, sitting in any of your own data centers. All that stuff can, whether it be encryption at rest, the DDoS, what they call, WAFs, so in other words, application firewall services, all that stuff can be turned on literally with mouse clicks to wrap around everything you put in here. I put together a couple of solutions for some places not too long ago that had to meet all the DoD standards for top secret clearance and above, and we were able to do that using all of our standard off-the-shelf parts. This is a great slide, only in the simple fact that one of the things it shows you is this. This thing right here. So when you look at our portal, when you actually do go there, and I suggest, just take a look sometime, ctl.io. When you're putting things in and you're typing in your servers, we tell you how much money it costs. So as you're selecting, let's say I want to go from 1 CPU to 2 CPU, you'll see the difference. And it tells you, like, this is based on X number of hours per month. In other words, if this is running 24/7, 760 hours a month, this is your price difference. So if I want, do I really want to have an extra 10 gig of space or 10 terabytes of storage on this just because I want to? You'll see what the price difference is. And that is one of the things that you'll find that, you'll find it in our portal and a few other things. We try to make the pricing as simple as possible without a lot of gotchas and hidden kind of fees and stuff that's floating around. Yeah, it's been listed as visionary. In reality, with the Savvis acquisition and the Tier 3 acquisition, Centurylink and the platforms that they've purchased and are running today have been in Gartner's Magic Quadrant for the last 7 years. That's something that most people don't know. And that's because we've changed names, right? We go from Savvis, Centurylink, business branding, Subaccounts. This is actually one of the things that you may like. You can give certain users access to their servers, but they can't touch anybody else's. Or you can give other users, let's say the controller, the county, he can sit there and run his own report and see from the chargeback perspective all the stuff that's going on, but does not have the ability to go shut something off if he doesn't want to. He can hand it. But you can at least let them go in and they can run all their own reports. If you have a new project, or if you have some new group, if it's the fire department or someone else, and you want them to have control of their stuff, but not anyone else's, you can do that. You can also set budgets. So just like you might do with your kids, you have $100 a month to spend, $100 a month to spend, you can do that. So if you've got a project that has a set dollar amount, you can have it so that it caps it at that spot, for that amount. Automated policies, bulk operations, these are all kind of fun things. Biggest things you can do is you can have this happen to all of your servers at any one point in time. You can schedule things to go on and off. So when I talked about before, some servers don't belong in the cloud because if they were running 24/7, it would just cost you too much. You need to stop and look at, of my servers, what really needs to run 24/7? Do all of them have to be there? If I've got applications that people are using in an office during the day, if they're not logging in at 9 o'clock at night, and no one's using that at 9 o'clock at night, can I shut that server down from 9 until 5 a.m. after the backup's taken? If I can, then I can put it in the cloud and I can actually save money, because it's basically powered off. You can set the schedule so that it automatically powers up. You got an early bird that gets there at 5:30, make sure it's set for 5. And this is probably one of the other last things that we'll really want to cover, DR. So how many here have a DR plan for what you got? How many of you tested it and done it? I got it back here. It works. All right, awesome. So for most places that I go to, DR is always one of those things that's always kind of a has-been, right? You have to have it. You're supposed to have it. Everyone wants to think that we have it, but you actually, you know, when the hurricane comes rolling through, it actually doesn't necessarily work, right? You know, at home, I used to live in New Jersey until just a couple of years ago. Hurricane Sandy came by, we lost power for 10 days. I did have a DR plan, I had a generator at home. The part that I didn't think through is that in my neighborhood, I was the only person with a generator. I was everyone's best friend. Look at people I didn't like. Can I charge my phone? Can I take a shower? Literally, it was like a hostel in my house. There were several neighbors that had like little kids, and of course it snowed right afterwards. I don't know if you guys know that. I mean, hurricane comes through, brings up all this warm wind, and then like 2 days later, there's like 6 inches of snow on the ground. So it's cold. So we got all these like babies in my house. It's very, very strange. So there's always a good thing about having a DR plan, and then, you know, for home, there's some badges for having one. This product, Safe Haven, this is a company that we bought 2 years ago and integrated it into our cloud. It works servers that you have on site today, or servers that you may host with us. Either work. Basically, you install it, and it replicates up into the cloud. So now, great, now I've got your data backed up. But what it also does is you have instances of each of your servers sitting in the cloud, powered off. But the only thing you're paying for is the space that you're taking up, in other words, the storage. If you have a disaster, or you need to test your DR plan, one, all the changes you've made to your servers, whether it be Active Directory, or I've updated this software, I've made changes here, I've made changes there, it's automatically up there, because it's always in replication mode. And two, I can push a button and have all those servers boot up. And now they're running. You can control the boot up so that they, you know, go in the right sequence, you know, Active Directory shows up first, then maybe my databases and all those other things. And it will take, you can point your servers, you know, point your users there, get them pointed, now they're using this. When you want to fall back, which is always the hardest thing, if you're ever doing a test and you've made changes to live production data and you want to fall that back, it's usually not an easy thing. In this case, you can click a button and it will sync the data changes back to your production environment, shut those down, and then start the replication again. This is actually really inexpensive. It's like $50 a server a month, plus your storage. Maybe all your servers did it, maybe not all of them do. Maybe some do. But, you know, it's hosted, it's here in the United States, you can put it in Virginia, you can put it in Atlanta, you can pick different spots. If you want to put it in Singapore, you probably could, but I wouldn't recommend it. But this works really, really well. It's very fast, it's very easy, and it does get your stuff up and out of the way.
Exactly. He's on ball.
Here we go, I think we're right at, those are the 3 things we want you to remember, which I guess now we'll kind of tie it all together. Ready? So, from the standpoint of, you know, what we had talked about with your priorities and your challenges and, you know, et cetera, there's a lot that we kind of went over. But overall, our ability to implement a lot of new solutions for you, easily migrating from your current technology, flexibility of doing that, and then budget conscious. We've got a lot of very cost-effective ways that we can do that, whether it be with cloud services, whether it be with hosting, management, maintaining, excuse me, whether it be implementing a wireless solution for you and having us do that for you, and you can have your IT staff do what they're really focused on doing. We've got a lot of different ways we can do that. Hopefully we kind of, you know, sparked a couple things in your mind, whether it be about the wiring, whether it be about Wi-Fi hosting, and having us help you out from that environment to disaster recovery and some other data center and hosting solutions. We hope that was helpful. That was fun. Thank you. Appreciate your time.